How Jackie Robinson Changed Baseball by Jessica McBirney. Jackie Robinson was a professional baseball player and the first African American to play in the major leagues. This informational text discusses Robinson's life and accomplishments and the impact his role in baseball had on the civil rights movement. As you read, take note of the different ways that Jackie Robinson fought back against racial discrimination and segregation throughout his life. Today, you may not be surprised to see an African American or Latino player when you turn on the TV to Major League Baseball. Maybe your favorite player is a person of color. But baseball has not always been as welcoming to diversity as it is now. In 1947, the famous Jackie Roosevelt Robinson became the first African American to play on a Major League Baseball team. The road he paved was an important but difficult one. Early athletic success. Robinson was born in Georgia on January 31, 1919, the youngest of 5 children. His father left the family just a year later, and his mother moved herself and her children to Pasadena, California. She worked odd jobs to support her family, but Robinson still grew up in relative poverty. When Jackie enrolled in high school, his siblings encouraged him to get involved in school sports teams. He excelled in football, basketball, track, and baseball, and he broke many school records. Robinson continued to play all of these sports in junior college. Ironically, he viewed baseball as his weakest sport. He transferred to UCLA to complete his degree, where he became the first athlete to letter in all 4 of those sports. UCLA had some of the most racially integrated college sports teams at the time, but Robinson was still among a very small minority of non-white athletes on all of his teams. Fighting racism. Even early in his life, Robinson confronted racism head-on. In 1938, while still at junior college, he was arrested after disputing the police's detention of one of his black friends. He managed to escape a long jail sentence, but this and other run-ins with the police earned him a reputation of being very combative against racial oppression. When the U.S. entered World War II, Robinson enlisted in the Army. He never saw direct combat, but his military career was marred by racial problems. While stationed in Texas, Robinson boarded a non-segregated bus, but he was instructed to sit in the back anyway. He refused, and military police took him into custody for his insubordination. Fortunately, 1 month later, an all-white jury acquitted him, but the situation foreshadowed only more of the same prejudice he'd face later in his life. A Negro player with guts. Robinson joined the Professional Negro League to play baseball in early 1945. He signed with the Kansas City Monarchs and had great success, but he was frustrated by all the disorganization that plagued the Negro Leagues. At the time, a few major league teams were recruiting from the Negro Leagues, and Robinson struck up a relationship with the general manager of the Brooklyn Dodgers, Branch Rickey. Rickey liked the potential he saw in Robinson, but he had one question. He knew Robinson would face racial discrimination and injustice if he joined the major leagues. Could he be a Negro player with enough guts not to fight back? Robinson promised that he could and signed a contract with the Montreal Royals, the Dodgers' top minor league team. After just 1 season, he transferred to the Brooklyn Dodgers. As he stepped onto the field as a first baseman in 1947, Jackie Robinson became the first Major League Baseball player to break the color barrier since 1880. He was 28 years old. African American fans flooded to Dodgers games, and even the general public and the press had a mostly positive view of the team's newest addition. However, Robinson faced discrimination from a few of his own team members who threatened to sit out of games if he was allowed to play. Management took Robinson's side. "I say he plays," said the manager. "I say he can make us all rich. And if any of you cannot use the money, I will see that you are all traded." Other teams also disliked Robinson's admittance into the league. Many threatened not to play against him. Most managers rejected these threats and forced the players to participate anyway. Instead, they took it out on Robinson directly during the games. Some players were physically violent. He once received a 7-inch gash in his leg from an opponent who spiked him with his cleats, while others hurled verbal racial insults at him and his teammates. The racism from the other teams only united the Dodgers, however, and the team grew more accepting of him. Major success. Robinson won Rookie of the Year in 1947. In later seasons, more African Americans joined other teams in the major leagues as Robinson continued to excel. His success gained him fans from all over the country. He started at second base for the National League in the 1949 All-Star Game, and he helped the Dodgers win the 1949 National League pennant. Over the next several years, his success grew, and by 1955, the Dodgers pulled out a win in the World Series. Robinson was 36 and starting to feel the effect of his age. In 1956, he did not dominate the league as much as he used to, partially because of the side effects he suffered from diabetes. When the Dodgers traded him to the New York Giants, Robinson decided to quit baseball altogether and become an executive for a coffee company instead. A legendary impact. After his retirement, Robinson remained a baseball legend. In 1962, he received baseball's highest honor when he was elected into the Hall of Fame. His playing style changed many team strategies. For example, he inspired plays to be more aggressive in their base running, rather than relying on the distance they could hit the ball. Robinson also made important racial breakthroughs in the sports world. The first baseball player to break the color barrier in 60 years, he paved the way for many future African American and minority athletes. His career helped the upcoming civil rights movement by giving African Americans a heroic African American sports figure to rally around.